Good evening, people. How are we doing? I do hope we are all having a fantastic Wednesday. Of course, we're live again. These lives are becoming a regular occurrence now, which is very good news. I'm Mr. Inconsistent these days, so I'm actually impressing myself at this point. Of course, today we are going to be reviewing our 1-1 draw at home versus Bradford City. There's a lot to dive into, despite the scoreline suggesting otherwise. Already, isn't there? There was a lot of meat to the game. There's a lot to dive into, a lot to talk about, and I've got my stream on in the background just to check that everything's okay, and I forgot to turn the volume off. So there we go. But yeah, we're going to be diving into stats, my thoughts on the game, of course, your guys' thoughts as well. The chat function is there. I can bring up your chat at any point, so feel free to almost involve yourself into this live. It's always good to hear your guys' opinions as well. And we're also, for the first time, going to be trying putting clips from the game on the screen during the live. I've never tried this before. It's a bit of a new thing for me, so fingers crossed it all goes swimmingly and we don't have any issues with PC and everything like that. This fella's been in here for the last few minutes, so you're an absolute legend, mate. Thank you for tuning in early doors. How are we doing? Tom as well. Hope you're doing well, my friend. But welcome in, everyone. Like I say, hope we're all having a good day. And first things first, I'm just gonna kind of state my thoughts on the game before we look into any stats. Obviously, the first half I thought was excellent. We actually started the game okay despite conceding early. I thought, we weren't exactly 100% under the cosh as opposed to usual. Where at the start of halves we're usually very, very under it, unfortunately. But yeah, we started better. I think the goal from Burn was a bit of a frustrating one because it's another ball into the box. It's another cross from a set piece, and we haven't defended it very well at all, really, which is very frustrating. But listen, these things happen. Hopefully we can improve on that in training in the coming weeks because we have to, really. We've got some big games coming up. We've got a lot of games coming up as well. We'll touch on that later on. And of course the injuries that we've got aren't going to help either, so the sooner we get the likes of Arkell back, the better, really. Of course the injuries of Haynes and Pell, they're not going to be back anytime soon, but the sooner we can get Arkell back, the better. And I think that's another discussion altogether to have when I mention one Bradford player in particular for me who I thought had an absolute whale of a time in his position, it's fair to say, against us last night. And then obviously, as soon as the goal goes in, we've hit back big time, really. I mean, it was, the whole ground's telling him to shoot. And I think it's the first time in a long time that I've actually agreed, that often our fans cry out for players to shoot from long range. And I think, no, please don't shoot. And I actually agreed with it at the time. And, it's a good job I did because Luke Young has absolutely twatted it into the back of the net. I think Walker maybe should have done a bit better with it, but when the amount of players that are in the way and the power that he's got behind it, it's a very difficult one to save, isn't it? And from then on, that was a catalyst for us playing a little bit better in the game. I thought from then on, we've really taken the game to them in the first half. We could have scored on several occasions after that, but I think the first half, the best way of describing it is we matched a very good side. I don't think we necessarily dominated. We played very well, but I don't think we dominated still, I think, and that's a testament to how well Bradford played. Again, not 100% up to speed with how they've been in the last 3 games prior, where they won all 3. I believe it was Newport, Gillingham, and I want to say Tranmere. Their 3 wins prior to that, so obviously it was clear that they weren't quite at the races or to the same quality that they have been in the past 3. But listen, we've taken the games, then we've matched them in the first half, and then the second half again is a massive credit to Bradford because the difference from the get-go in the second half to the first half was night and day. Graham Alexander has really got his team going. It's clear to see over the 15-minute halftime break, and they've come out and absolutely battered us. Really, they could have scored 3 or 4 if Joe Day wasn't absolutely on it. If they hadn't have hit the crossbar, if we weren't quite as resolute defensively as we were. I think we really dug in well, and Yeah, it was a deserved point in my opinion. On another day, it could have easily gone the other way though, with a lot of the refereeing decisions, etc. But of course, we will be discussing those later on. Callum's got a nice little comment here. First half was definitely the best we played all season. Second half was the best defensive performance all season. I think I could get on board with that. I don't necessarily think. Yeah, I think it was the best we've played all season. I mentioned last night on Instagram Live that I don't think it's necessarily our best overall performance. I think Colchester, we played not as well, but we played decently for a longer period of time. Obviously, yesterday was only about a 35-40 minute period. In terms of overall defensively and attacking, just an all-round good team performance. It only really lasted one half. Because the attack, and that's not really a fault of our own. I just think the attack didn't really get a look in the second half. Aside from that Matty Taylor chance from a few yards out where Walker has managed to kind of get to the ball just in time as he's tried to poke it in, which was a really frustrating one actually, because on another day, you know, if you've got a striker that's played more games recently and someone who's, you know, in good form goal scoring wise, you know, they could have poked that in, which was a bit of a kick in the teeth, really, but at the end of the day, you know, Bradford had the lion's share of the second half, so I'm not exactly livid with that. But yeah, I think over the course of 90 minutes, I think it was a good performance for longer against Colchester, but it was much better in parts against Bradford, I would say. I am doing very well, my friend. Was that goal for us offside within the first 5 minutes? I will discuss that in a sec, I'm sure, but. If you look at my vlog, the link is in the description, by the way. If you haven't already, do go give it a watch. I enjoyed making it, to be fair. It's actually quite a good watch. But it's very close. I think his shoulder might be just off, unfortunately. I think my angle of it is much better than on the highlights. I will say that, and that's not to big myself up, but on the highlights, he looks well on. He's not well on. It's very close, and I think he's just off. There's definitely improvements, that's visible. Early days but promising. And Thomas is starting, exactly. Hey, what a difference. I think, I must admit, I think this starting 11 that we've been playing in the last 2 games is our best starting 11. Aside from Arkell, of course, once we get Arkell back, it'll be a lot more promising. And then, you know, if we get Haynes back in the long term, then possibly. I haven't exactly been a massive fan of Haynes this season, but, you know, he's better than the likes of Shipley, etc. And obviously we had to toss it up a bit last night in that left back position, and you know it was clear to see. But thankfully, you know, they attacked down our right side of our defence. I say thankfully, we got abused down the right side of our defence at times. So that's another discussion altogether. I'm sure I'll talk about it on the Robbins Report podcast, which we will be recording over the next few days and getting out hopefully for Friday, I believe. I was there in front of you guys ish. And I thought it was onside myself. It was very, very close. It was very, very close, I must say. Very, very close. I do think his shoulder might have just been off, unfortunately. Anyway, so let's get into the stats and everything else. So yesterday, the result does leave us still 17th in the league, but now 6 points ahead of the relegation zone, 23rd place, which unfortunately for us is Carlisle. And of course, we face Carlisle away on Saturday, so we know how this goes. We know how this goes. Fingers crossed it doesn't. Like I said in the vlog and on the Instagram Live, I am not there on Saturday, so there will not be a vlog, but I will do my best to get a preview, a live preview show done on the Friday. However, I am at the races on Friday, so I don't quite know when I'm going to have the chance to get it done. I might just have to record a video tomorrow and then premiere it on Friday, maybe. That's as good as I can really do. But yeah, we've put a nice little cushion between ourselves and the drop now. And that's how it should be. You know, that's how it should be with some of the players we've got on this team. You know, they've proved that they are quality. Not necessarily ones that we expected to be quality, but we do have quality in the side. And if we dig in and get the results like we did yesterday and against Colchester, we'll be absolutely fine. But we need to retain this form. I think anything other, well, if we lose against Carlisle, I think that's, you know, the mood straight back down towards where it was. Not necessarily back on the floor, but it's, it's getting back towards where it was with, certain players and the management and whatever. So I think it's absolutely vital that we don't lose. I would happily take a point away at a struggling Carlisle side, because they are, they lost last night, but they lost to Walsall, the side who are absolutely smashing it. And, listen, anything can happen up at Carlisle. It's a long journey, and we'll just see what happens, man. We'll just see what happens. But that's besides the point. We'll save that for the Carlisle preview. But yeah, it's a good point. It makes our form look a lot better than it was, I must say. 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. It's about the same as the teams around us, really. So yeah, you take that, and hopefully we can get a result on Saturday and take us even higher. Of course, Bradford now with a point, still in 5th place. However, 1 point closer to the automatics of Doncaster losing at home yesterday. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Or was it a draw in the end? Actually, I can't remember. I think they lost. Let me just double check. I don't want to get my facts wrong. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Yeah, they lost 1-0. They lost 1-0. I didn't know if they equalised late on. But yeah, massive result. Massive result for Bromley at our end of the table, of course, but also for Bradford, to get a draw away at Cheltenham was not what they would have wanted, and they could have been in the automatics come today, come last night at the final whistle, but they're not. But at least they're safe in the knowledge that they're 1 point closer. They're unbeaten in 5. Their form is the best out of the teams around them, and they are well and truly playing good football despite the amount of injuries they have. So yeah, it's very good to see on their part. And last night I think in the second half they really proved that they are a side that will be right up there come the end of the season. Like I keep saying, if you haven't already, go and watch the vlog. It gives you a better idea of sort of everything I'm saying. And if you've got anything to say with regards to the game, please do get your comments in the chat. I will be reading them as I go. I am not ignoring comments. I am just only reading comments that are worth putting up on the screen and reading. Anyway, sofa score. These are the player ratings. Once again, I think some of them are an absolute car crash. 6.2 for Jordan Thomas, I think, is really unfair. Same with Joel Colwell. I don't think 6.3 is deserved. And I think, for some other players, maybe they got higher ratings than they deserved as well. I don't think Harrison Sonner was necessarily a 7.1. If Jordan Thomas is a 6.2 and Harrison Sonner is a 7.1, then the world must be ending. And then Joe Day, oh my word, how has he only got a 6.7? Listen, I know he conceded the goal, but come on now. I mean, realistically, lads, which goalkeeper do we think had a better game yesterday, Joe Day or Sam Walker? I think every person in this live would say Joe Day. So we do take these ratings with a pinch of salt. We really do. But my two standouts in this game, mainly on the whole, were the 2 centre backs, and I'm really, really happy for Scott Bennett, because we spoke about him in our player rankings, which were a bit brutal, and I look back on that and I think maybe I let Josh have too much free reign, because I think some of them were a bit dodgy. But anyway, Scott Bennett, he's been at fault for a lot of goals this season, and Stubbs has been in the squad in the back 2 or back 3 for the past few weeks, and he hasn't really got a chance. And Sam Stubbs has also made mistakes. And finally now, of course, when Sam Stubbs couldn't play because he's on loan from Bradford, Scott Bennett got his chance again, and he well and truly took it. And I think by the looks of it, the way we defended, the defence looked much more happy having Scott Bennett at the back than it did Sam Stubbs. And my worry is it almost comes across as if, the way I see it, watching the games, it almost comes across as if Sam Stubbs is undroppable. Because I get that Bakaro was injured in the past few weeks prior to Colchester, and I get that, Scott Bennett was out of form prior to when Sam Stubbs, went on a streak of starting games. But Sam Stubbs in the last few weeks has, I wouldn't even say it's arguably, been worse than Scott Bennett overall. And, if it wasn't for those first 2 games against Walsall and Harrogate, I think he'd probably be up there with our worst players this season by a mile. He'd well and truly be in that 1-star category. And and Scott Bennett yesterday. I mean, don't get me wrong, he wasn't exactly perfect, but it was a much better performance. And he got a 7.3, as you can see, the highest rating out of anyone on our team. Got man of the match call on the sofa score. So yeah, and once again, Tom Bradbury, I think that's another one. I think he looks much more comfortable in this defence. Again, a very assured performance when he needed to make challenges and win headers. He did. When he needed to play the ball forward, he did. He looked calm. He did the right thing every single time. He wasn't at fault for anything, and that's been the case for all season really. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. And I think he's now, he should be an absolute staple in our back line. And again, I know I bang the drum for him all the time, but everyone admits it. He is an absolute staple in our defence now. And of course, before I read through the chat a little bit, Luke Young and Ethan Archer. I mean, those two had a great game as well. It's unfair to not mention them. Luke Young was excellent last night. He had a really, really good game. I thought, and the goal was deserved as well. And he's come under a bit of criticism seemingly in recent weeks, which I don't think is deserved. And an excellent performance like that, and a great goal, was well and truly what he needed to maybe build on his confidence. And Ethan Archer again. I mean, that guy is just mustard, isn't he? He's absolutely mustard defensively and going forward. The guy picks out the right pass every time. The guy's always making runs, and the guy is always getting back and defending. He's just quality. And then, I mean, for me, this man, I'll be interested to see the chat's opinions. Any Cheltenham fans that are in here, what's your thoughts on the goalkeeper situation? Because I would never jump to the gun and say, get Owen Evans out the squad, Joe Day's better. Listen, Joe Day has had 2 unbelievable games. He was excellent against Colchester. He was even better last night. Without him, it could have been, a cricket score. It wouldn't have been a cricket score, but we would have lost quite considerably, in my opinion. And then even the Plymouth game in the Carabao Cup, okay, we conceded 3, but again, it would have been a lot worse if he wasn't in goal. Made some excellent saves, good distribution. When Owen Evans is back, is it almost? I don't think it's necessarily who's better. I think it's a case of, is it almost unfair to put Joe Day back on the bench after being so good? In my opinion, no. And the reason for that is he is a player coach. So it's not like he's completely uninvolved. But because he's on the bench and he's not first choice goalkeeper. If he was second choice goalkeeper and that's it, yes, it might be unfair to drop him. But he's a goalkeeper coach, or he's a player coach. Sorry. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. We'll talk about Bradford's players in a sec. Of course, there's a lot to dive into there. Callum says Joe Day is so experienced in the EFL, and it showed. He's a good player coach to have in the squad. Indeed, that's an absolutely excellent comment. I've got to say, it hits the nail on the head. Where does this leave Matty Taylor? Morris? Oh God, it's a very good discussion to have. He didn't exactly look very far behind the pace last night, despite having a few weeks out of the team for injury or whatever reason it was. I don't know, mate, to be honest. It's a tough one to say, isn't it? Because Miller has been excellent since he's come in. He's done everything, required of him. And yeah, okay, in his 2 starts, he hasn't scored. He did score an offside goal, which was very tight last night. But let's not beat about the bush with that. He's done everything asked of him aside from score. Matty Taylor this season, okay, he scored 1 against Grimsby, but other than that, had he really had a big effect on games? No, he hadn't. And I would most definitely say that George Miller has affected games with the way he plays far more than Matty Taylor has in the games that he's played. So for me, I struggle to see a way back for Matty Taylor, and I'll be interested to see come January or come the end of the season if he's still at the club. Apologies. Read a few more chats. Zach says up the Vale. Vale are having a cracking season, aren't they? It's fair to say. Let me just go back to full face cam briefly while we're just talking to chat. Your opinion on Solid being played left back? Just had to fill in, mate. Just had to fill in. I think he deserved some minutes. Where else are you going to fit him in that lineup? There's a gap there. It's the only gap. you can't play him over anyone else because everyone else recently has earned their place in the squad after Colchester. So, he had to fill in, and he still did a decent job. And I was very impressed by him. AMB says he was great. Jode earned his spot. Interesting. It'd be silly to drop Day when Evans is back. As Day has been brilliant, I think we should give him a run of games. Interesting. Miller is our last striker. I wouldn't start any other striker. I mean, I would if we're trying to start a front two, which we often do, but, it'd be a bit of a recipe for disaster if we weren't going to start another striker then. But, anyway, I get your point. Can I have your opinion on Flynn's football? We'll save that for another day. Because we do have a review to do, but it's a long discussion to have. That's the only reason why. We'll quickly touch on Bradford, and one of their players in particular I do want to touch on. Andy Cook was pretty anonymous, actually, and I think that's credit to our two centre-backs again. And I said in the preview, actually, if any of you watched the Colchester review / Bradford preview, when I was talking to Sam, the Bradford fan, I said, you look at the goals that have been scored this season, besides from Andy Cook, the next major goal scoring threat is their centre-backs. That's 3 goals in a row now at Bradford in their last 2 games that have been scored by centre-backs. 2 for Neil Byrne and 1 for Jack Shepherd. I almost spoke it into existence on the preview, unfortunately. And it was a great header, but it's, he's practically free, and we may as well get it up on screen now. If it works. Yeah, here was the goal. I'm sorry it's so bright. I'm not sure why it is, but he's not free, but he's just managed to well and truly climb over Bennett, and listen, Bennett's not the tallest of guys ever, but I don't know, it's just another one of those occasions where we've been beaten in the air, but he's tracked the ball all the way. Maybe Bennett hasn't tracked his man as much. If it's a frustrating one. And for a centre back that's got the height that Neil Byrne has, and the aerial presence and the physicality that he does, he's always gonna win the header. And none of the other defenders are at fault. If I'm perfectly honest. He's towered above Bennett, and I think unfortunately it's not necessarily the fact that Bennett's small or smaller and he's not got the aerial presence. I think it's more a case of he's simply been out-muscled. But I don't know. It was Young. Oh, was it? I honestly, I thought all along it was Bennett. I do apologise. Let me watch it back. Yeah, you're right. It was Young. Yeah, I apologise. Okay, it was Young. Yeah, okay, well, that explains it more then, because I haven't seen Young do a header all season. So, Chris, thank you, mate. I do appreciate that. That's an absolute howler from me. Thank you for telling me before I got on the podcast, because I was no doubt mentioned that. But yeah, it's just a frustrating one, isn't it? I mean, you see here, you see him making the run, and it's just not really being tracked well enough. I must admit, what I was impressed by with Bradford was their setup for set pieces. I think they well and truly position their players really well. And then it's this point here, he's well and truly on his back, and there's no foul in there. Maybe if he goes down, there might be enough contact, but he's just simply leapt over him. But yeah, I mean, it's another one where we've been outdone by a cross, and Neil Byrne has gotten to the end of it, and that's why he's got a 7.4 rating, and that's 2 and 2 for a centre back, which is absolutely mental. But like I say, we could almost see it coming. One player I want to mention is this lad in the bottom corner, Lewis Richards. And not necessarily because of how well he played, but you look at that heat map there. It's a frustrating viewing, really, isn't it? He is a left winger, but he's barely had to drift in at all. He's had complete free reign down the left side, mostly in the first half. And, I mentioned it on the vlog at half time. Well, sorry, Simon mentioned it on the vlog at half time. It's one of those where he's a very good player at making runs down the wing and freeing himself from opposition players. And unfortunately, he's made a run on about 8 or 9 occasions, maybe more, in the first 45 minutes. and a ball has been played out to him, whether it's a pass along the floor or a ball over the top, and he's got onto it every time. And, don't get me wrong, he's done that all season. He is a good player for them. But I think I'm not necessarily blaming Payne. I'm not exactly beaming for him as such. But, he hasn't managed to stick with him. And I think, whether that's the quality of player over a player who maybe doesn't have enough pace to get back or keep up with Richards, I don't know. But it was it was it was quite a sad viewing, because you could see that Payne was really giving it some in the first half. He was absolutely busting a gut to get to every ball, and play out from the defence and get onto his man and whatever. But he was just getting absolutely bullied by balls over the top to Lewis Richards. And unfortunately, you do question if Arkell was fit. Is that happening every time? If I'm perfectly honest, I don't even think that they try and play that style of football if Arkell's there, because that lad's, not only is he fast, but he's got so much energy in those legs. We've seen he can run for 90 minutes, no problem. And I think he wouldn't have had an issue keeping up with Richards and kind of eliminating that threat down that left side. And I think that heat map would look a lot different. So it's just, it's frustrating. And what's also annoying is the fact that he's had 8 crosses. Only one accurate one, but 8 crosses. It's just... when we concede as many crosses as we do, or concede from as many crosses or balls into the box as we do, you simply cannot be allowing that many crosses into the box. It's, I mentioned it after about the 4th or 5th one. He's having free reign and he's whipping it in every single time, or he's playing it back to someone on the corner of the box and then it's getting whipped in. It's just, if you can't win the ball in the air from a cross and get it away, stop the problem at the root. And we're not even getting close to stopping the problem at the root. Preventing crosses is easier said than done when you're against a team that have fast, skillful wingers. But we didn't even get close to stopping crosses last night. We maybe blocked 1 or 2 in the second half that went out for corners. That was it. It's a frustrating one, and we'll now dive into the overall stats. And I've got the match overview and then the first and second half. And the difference is, overall it's quite even. First half we've dominated, as you can see. And then the second half we've just been absolutely battered. And it's, again, that's a credit to Bradford more than an insult to us, I would say. First half we had 5 shots. We forced 3 saves from Sam Walker, 5 corner kicks. Maybe we could have done more, I don't know, but I just think, we really matched them. This is what I mean, we matched them in the first half, if not did better than them. And then the second half, they come out, they have a few chances, they force Joe Day into a save, they hit the crossbar within about 25 minutes of the second half opening, and you're thinking, right, we need to dig in and get a result here. And I think those stats well and truly prove it. I will just change to this screen so you can see the free kicks and stuff there as well. In fact, that's even better. There we go. But I don't know. It's just, I don't really like diving into stats too much, so I won't dilly dally on it. But it's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things. The second half makes the stats look far worse than they are. 72% possession for Bradford. It felt like a lot more. But what I think is really credible is the fact that we've had that second half, and you look at those stats and everything else, it's crazy, but we still forced Sam Walker into 2 saves, and we still had chances to win the game. I will never forget that Matty Taylor chance. It should have been a goal, or we should have at least done better. It's great goalkeeping from Walker, but listen, Matty Taylor's got to be more on his toes for that chance to poke it in when it's kind of bounced around, taking a few deflections in the box, towards the right side of the goal, from about 5 yards out. But listen, you can't dwell on these things. It's a good point, and I think you look at those stats overall, and I think if you were looking at it on paper and you hadn't watched the game, you would 100% take the result. And I think even if you did watch the game, anyone that did watch the game last night, you take the result well and truly, because Bradford could have easily pulled through and got a winner. So let's dive into some of the clips then. Let's discuss our performance a little bit more. in depth the way we played as opposed to Bradford. But first, before we do that, I want to show something that's been doing the rounds on Twitter a lot, and I think it's very, very interesting. And my angle doesn't show it the best. For this one, the highlights do show it better because it was up the other end of the pitch. But the penalty shout. Let's go to the screen here, so it's a bit more full screen. Again, I don't know why it's so bright, but he goes down there, and he's definitely gone down in the box, and the fans are livid, and the players are livid, as you can see. And can you blame them? I mean, let's just scroll back through that. In fact, so he's got the ball there, and the contact has started. I mean, the contact has started all the way from back here, from about here, yeah. The shirt pulling begins, everything else. And then he gets back on side. And by the time, I think it's Payne has got on there. Yeah, it's Payne. By the time he's got on there and started making contact again, the ball is making its way into the box. And the Bradford player has played it very smart. In fact, I think it's who we were just discussing. But he's made his way. In fact, let me just play it out. He's made his way into the box, and he's gone down. He's gone down right on the goal, on the line of the 18-yard box, and it's a really debatable one. I mean, by the letter of the law, it's kind of where the contact starts. It's not where the player falls, and that's where I think the key point is, from the referee's point of view, the contact that brings him down. The real contact is there. That's where the real contact is. The contact that actually could bring a player down. It's there. And then we watch on, and it gets very, like, by then he's diving. So the contact that's brought him down, or that could have brought him down, is right on the edge of the box. But you've seen him given. And that's the talking point. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that, because at the time, I must admit, I thought it was a penalty. And it's just because you see them given so often. I mean, both his feet, by the time he's gone down, both his feet are well and truly in the box. Let's watch it back one more time. I mean, you see where his feet are planted before he goes down. He's definitely in the box. But he goes down after the major contact, and it's an interesting talking point. But I've seen them given, and I'd be very frustrated if I was a Bradford fan. But yeah, the referee is definitely a talking point. He didn't have the greatest of games last night. I think there was a lot of free kick decisions that didn't go our way. I think a lot of them were soft. I think what I'm not a fan of, which I've seen more in the last two games, is we're diving a lot more. I think we're really playing. We're really playing for set pieces, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the amount of times George Miller went down unnecessarily after losing the ball, trying to win a free kick against Colchester was actually frustrating me. So that's one thing that's frustrating me, and I think there was an element of that last night with some of the shouts for for free kicks and whatever. So again, that's another talking point altogether. But listen, I mean, we on another day could have had a penalty. I mean, I don't think it is a handball from Jack Shepherd. I think he's put his arm up, no doubt, and I think it's more hit him sort of there. I would say just on the bottom of his arm where it meets his back. Sort of on his lat sort of area. But again, it's so it's such close range from where the ball's been attempted to be crossed in, and Shepherd it's such a short range, and is it too close to be a penalty even if it is his hand? It's a very probable discussion to have. Let's read some more comments before we get on to the analysis of the goal. Of course, there's a lot to talk about with it. I think we should have maybe had a goal. It looks a tight offside. Yeah, I think it was off. I do think it was off, I must say. But only just. It was very tight. You watch my vlog and pause it exactly where Young is playing the ball. I genuinely think it's like his shoulder. Like half a shoulder that is offside. There's no more than that in it. Like, no more than that. Definitely less, in my opinion, in it. Saying that, they should have had a pen. Most contact was in the box, and it wasn't a free kick. I mean, most contact wasn't in the box. Most contact was outside the box. So I should have read that earlier. We did just have that discussion, and I showed it on the screen. The major contact was definitely outside the box, but he was still grappling a little bit inside. So not enough to bring him down, but there was contact. You've seen him given on other days, haven't you? So it's just one of those things. What's your expectations for Cheltenham this season? Just hopefully stay up, mate. When is AJB back? I believe in the next 3 weeks or so. That is a very optimistic thing, though. It could easily be longer, so don't quote me on that. He's responding to someone else. I think it comes down to exactly where the ref exactly is. I agree. It's, he wasn't in the greatest position to see it. He wasn't exactly side on to it, so yeah, it's just one of those. But I think he's seen the major contact has been outside, and it's just one of those. But you've seen him given it. It's difficult to discuss, really. I've seen pens given in that scenario, but for me, when the foul starts well outside the box, and let's be honest, he dived like a prime Tom Daly. For me, the ref got that right. That's fair. I'm split on it. I'm split on it just because I've seen him given. But the major contact, like I keep saying, has been outside the box. He's gone down inside the box where there wasn't enough contact to go down. He's evidently looking for it, and I think because he's looking for it, the ref hasn't given the penalty. He's given it where the contact happens, or the contact that would actually bring him down happens, which I think is perfectly fair. I miss our League 2 winning squad. Who doesn't? Shepherd's handball, no pen for me. Agreed. The offside looks well on TV, but your vlog made it look off. Yeah, the angle on TV and on the highlights is terrible. It genuinely, I don't understand how, being literally like 20 metres to my left. No, it's not 20 metres, is it? Probably about 30 metres to my left. 3 blocks in the stand to my left. How it has how it portrays it in such a terrible and incorrect manner. I just find it incredible. How well do you think Cheltenham is doing? Listen, we're doing better, mate. We had a tough start, and the last 2 games have been a big positive. So hopefully we can build on that on Saturday at Carlisle away. But it's a big ask against a side who are scrapping down at the bottom and 3 points, and obviously it's a long journey. It's a tough place to go. It's always been a tough place to go, but we have been known to get results there, so fingers crossed. We will see. But let's take a look before we go on to a little final sort of roundup and a little Q&A at the end, like I always like to do. Let's take a look at the goal, shall we? Massive credit to Healer for the clip. He's an absolute saviour. I just want to say, Lee absolutely saved the vlog this week, well and truly. If it wasn't for him getting the goal on camera, there wasn't really, the best bit of the vlog wouldn't have happened. So it would have almost felt pointless me uploading it. But listen, it's an excellent finish. Luke Young's 30 yards out or so, at least 25. Maybe I exaggerated it in the thumbnail, I don't know. Or in the title, I almost definitely did. But we'll call it 30 yards anyway because it makes it sound better. And it makes the video sound cooler. So I'm a marketing man, okay? We've got to allow it. But he's absolutely smacked it. He's really put his back into it. And it's excellent technique, by the way. Obviously, I mean, he is a professional footballer, so you'd like to think so. But just the way he really puts his laces behind that. And you can tell by the way the ball moves. I must admit, Walker, for me, has got to do better. But you look at the power behind it. I mean, this is in 0.7 speed. I've slowed it down to 0.7 speed, and it's still an absolutely rapid shot. He's well and truly thumped it. And, there's a lot of players in the way as well. I believe that's Byrne who's gone for the header there. Let me double check. Yep, Neil Byrne has gone for the header to block it just here. And obviously, there's players in the way. He's gone to head it. It might have even just about flicked off the top of his head, actually, looking at the way it moves. But yeah, I mean, the amount of power behind it is not going to save it, is he? if I'm honest, I struggle to see that being goal of the season just purely because of the manner in which it's it's not exactly gone into the corner. The keeper's sidestepped for a shot that was coming straight at him, and then he's had to dive, and he hasn't really been able to get a strong hand on it. But I think it's so impressive that Young has managed to get the ball through such a crowded group of players. I mean, you look here, he's literally put it straight between sort of them few players there. I mean, you look here. I don't know if I have a way of pointing, but oh, what have I done? Oh dear, I do apologise. But you look at where Bradbury is there. He's next to Burn, and it's literally gone in between the front few men, and then to the left of Burn. It's an excellently taken shot, and it's a great goal. And like I say, I think Luke Young really deserves it. And let's play it out one more time, just for you boys watching. But if you want to keep watching it more, go and look at the vlog. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you want to see the celebrations as well, go and get at the vlog for that. But yeah, what a goal. And of course, that secured the point in the end, and the rest was history. Really, I mean, could we have got more? I think the draw was justified. But again, you just kick yourself over the little chances, don't you? There's little chances that you sort of think, if on another day those chances would have been taken and we would have come away with 3 points, probably undeservedly, but we would have hard fought out another 2 points, and really made a statement to the rest of the league against a very good Bradford side, and they proved that in the second half last night how good they are. So if you want to see any more of the game or any more of my thoughts on the game, please go and watch the vlog. The link is in the description of this live, and of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube, drop this live a like, and now we are at the point of doing a little Q&A. Why not? Probably be off for another 3 or 4 minutes. So if you guys have got any questions for me, any questions about the channel, any questions about Cheltenham, put them to me now. Now is your chance. And in the meantime, I will just talk about what's coming up for the channel over the next couple of weeks. So, of course, I'm not going to Carlisle, unfortunately, because I'm at the races. I say unfortunately, I love the racing. So I wasn't going to miss the first race meet of the season. Okay. Secondly, I will be going to the EFL Trophy game next Tuesday. If you boys want a vlog for that, let me know. I wouldn't usually vlog them. I haven't in the last... Well, I didn't last season. I did the season before, but I didn't last season. If you want them to come back, let me know. The reason I say that is there will also not be a vlog for Rotherham because I am in Amsterdam. However, there should be a vlog while I'm in Amsterdam. So stay tuned for that. It will, well, so long as all goes well booking-wise, it should be good. Do you think we will sign anyone in the winter window, and if so, who? It's very early doors, mate. It's very early doors. I think I need to judge on who we've got injured at that point in time. What I will say is I think we desperately need another centre back. And I'm not worried necessarily about the amount of centre backs we have. We have we have 5 that are, well, 4 that are fit at the moment, but we have 5 overall, with Levi Lang being out injured. And at the moment we're looking like, judging by the way we've played, we should be sticking to a back 2 with centre backs. That is, by the way, 2 centre backs, not a back 2. That'd be a bit worrying. But I think with the quality we've got, I think we need someone who's going to come into the team and push for a starting 11 spot alongside Bradbury, because for me, he's the only nailed on one out of the lot. Nailed on one out of the lot. I don't think. But I mean, Bennett, after last night, if he can continue performing like that, then yes, he's in with the chance of being a solid name. But again, like I said, it almost seems like in recent weeks Sam Stubbs is undroppable. It's like he's the Oracle or something. But when is the next Twitch live stream? It's a good question. I actually don't even know myself, mate. I don't even know myself. I'm trying to focus so much on YouTube at the moment that it's difficult. So I'll put it in the Discord as and when I do go live. Do Ajax Stadium tour? I probably will not, but I will be going to some football. Touch wood. I assume you're not counting Shipley as a centre back. No, the thing is, he was signed as a left back. Like when he came in, he played left back for Accrington last season. He then played centre back in pre-season at times, and when he did make appearances in the league, he played centre back. And then he had to get shipped out to left wing back, which okay is a lot closer to how he played last season, but he's still not a left wing back. He was brought in as a left back. He can't. He's perfectly capable of doing the defending, but he can't run forward and get back, which is exactly what is required of a left wing back. So that's just my opinion on Shipley. He's none of those positions. He's a myth. The guy's not real. He's not real. He's a figment of our imagination. What's your Discord link? I don't even know if I've got it up on. Someone's asked for the Discord link, so I might as well do it. I should probably carry on talking though. But yeah, we will. Any more questions before I do shoot off? Please do get them in the chat, because I'll be heading off very, very shortly. Need to get a few things done. Also need to eat as well, because I haven't eaten yet tonight. So it's probably a good idea. But yeah, if you enjoy these previews and reviews, by the way, please do let me know. I enjoy doing them. It's nice to sit down and kind of rant a bit. And kind of give my thoughts on everything, and kind of sit down and just settle the waters a little bit, because often you kind of bottle these things up and just think about them in your head, and then by the time you get to the next game, it's all boiling over really. So it's nice to sit down and chat about it, and it's more content for you guys to watch, and I do hope you enjoy it. I'm trying my best to produce as much content as possible that is also enjoyable content. I don't want to post shit. Do you know what I mean? So I do hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please do share the channel. We're rapidly approaching 3,000. I so badly want to hit 3,000 by the end of the year. So if you could help me hit that, it would mean the absolute world. Out of all the teams so far, where would you rate Bradford? Are you talking about the teams that I've seen against Cheltenham, or the teams in general? Because obviously I try to watch as much League Two as possible, being a League Two fan and a content creator. I mean, I'm a part-time one at that, but I suppose I could call myself that. But yeah. I mean, if you're saying the teams that I've seen so far against Cheltenham, I'd definitely put Bradford top. Actually, I don't know, because the thing is, we played well, and we played well, and we still matched you. We played well, and we only matched you, so that's a credit to you. And that was only in the first half. Second half, you were the better side, so I think that says a lot about you. Who else this season? I mean, we played Plymouth in the cup, and obviously they were quality, but they are 2 divisions above. I don't think I've seen much major quality this season, to be honest. So it's a tough one, really. It's a tough one. Like Grimsby put 3 past us, but I didn't think they were exactly excellent. I guess if you've watched a lot of League Two games, then the whole division. Well, I would say I'd say they rank exactly where they are in the league. I would say 5th. I genuinely believe that. Who's above? Is it Walsall and who is it? Walsall and why can't I think of who it is? Who's top 3? Notts County, Walsall. Lads, I'm being really stupid here, I think. Port Vale. Thank you, Chris. I knew I was being stupid. Port Vale. Yeah. In the league, 5th. Like right now, like Doncaster, I think are way better than 4th. Notts County 3rd. Walsall this season second, definitely, and Port Vale top. Like I think, to be honest, like that's exactly how I would rank the team so far. I know it's easy to say that because that's where they are in the league, but yeah, they've just been, yeah. Bradford best team we played this season for me. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Right, lads, we're going to call it a day there. Been live for 50 minutes. It's been a good live. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already, please do go and watch the recent matchday vlog. It mean the absolute world. I do put a lot of effort into them. So if you do enjoy them, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, drop me a message if you want. If you've got any questions or queries, and also anything you want to say about the videos, I'm always looking through my Instagram messages and whatever, and my YouTube comments. I need to get better at replying to the YouTube comments, actually. So if you want to leave a comment, I'll try and reply to it. But yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, follow all the socials. Stay tuned. If you want to see a Carlisle match preview, let me know. I'll probably do it anyway. Or I'll probably try and find the time to do it anyway, because I've got a very busy few days. So I'll put out on Twitter if I'm going to do one or not. But thank you all very much for tuning in. It's been class. Massive point for Town once again. And fingers crossed we can take that into Carlisle. And we have to get a result there. We can't lose. We physically can't lose. But yeah. God bless you all. Have a class rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next one.